looking down the comedy list, and I think we've done pretty comedy. I feel like quite a lot of these comedies I actually really, really like.
Well, the next two on my list are the two that we really loved this year.
Yes.
So Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, when we saw that. Tina Fey, yeah. As a reporter in a war zone, based on a true story book. As a reporter who went to a war zone, and basically how would you describe it? The war zone, the media camp in this war zone was just kind of this wild party. It's really weird, and it's her meeting Martin Freeman's character and her name does escape me. Blonde woman.
Her name does escape me as well. Hold on.
She's in Wolf of Wall Street.
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie, her character.
It's on my top 10 films.
It has one of my favourite.
But it's also one of the biggest flops of the year.
It did badly. It did badly.
And
it snuck under the radar. But it's got that great clip in the trailer, which is one of my favourite comedy clips of the year, which is her reporting. This is where is she? I can't remember. This is the first woman in Afghanistan to have a driver's license.
Yes.
She says, I'm reporting here. This is the first one she's allowed to have a driver's license. She can drive a car all by herself. It's a historic event. And then the woman in the car starts it and reverses into a market stall. And Tina Fey goes, oh, that's upsetting. That's upsetting for women. It's very funny.
It's funny. It's really recommended.
The other one that we loved was Pop Star Never Stop Never Stopping, which again has got terrible reviews.
I saw the trailer of that.
Yeah,
It's
been badly reviewed. Well, it's been mixed, I think, but a lot of bad reviews. Mark Commode hated it.
Oh, I don't care about Mark Commode.
I like Mark Commode. I've met him a few times.
That's fine, but I don't care if people hate that film. I love that film.
Which was very surreal, bizarro comedy. It's basically The Lonely Island. If I say The Lonely Island, do you know who The Lonely Island are?
No.
Find them on YouTube.
Oh, they're
wait,
on Saturday Night Live. You see them,
Lonely Island. As in like the parody.
Yeah.
I
was going to say that's surprisingly
Andy
you don't know.
Samberg.
What did they do? Did they
They're on
do
Saturday Night Live a lot.
My Dick in a Box?
Yes.
And I'm on a motherfucking boat.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's basically The Lonely Island movie, but with Dave
Oh, then why haven't I seen it?
I know.
I gotta say, it was really difficult for us to get to see it.
It was a bit awkward to find.
It was really awkward to find in the cinema. But it's definitely the article that I said about earlier with The Guardian. They mentioned that film as one of the films, as well as Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, where they kind of think it's going to get bigger, like on DVD, because more people are going to find it, share it that way. It's definitely a film that
it was very surreal. You probably like him. It was very abstract.
It's kind of like a overview of what it was. It was kind of like Andy Samberg is this sort of pop star, and it was kind of like a musical documentary. So it was kind of like a parody of musical documentaries that they have, like Justin Bieber's one and Katy Perry's one. And
those things that I would never go and see.
It was absolutely brilliant. It got to the stage where you were laughing at one thing, and then the next joke hit, and then the next joke hit, and by the time like the film finished, you felt like you'd done some sort of workout because everything was hurting. And you're like, everything, my sides are hurting. It was brilliant, and the end of that film was amazing.
What happens at the end?
Don't tell us.
Okay.
No.
I love the songs as well.
Songs
are great.
Did anybody
Fuck Me Like Bin Laden?
Oh God!
Is that just something you were saying now?
That's one of the songs. One of the songs, and the chorus is this woman sort of essentially telling him, "Fuck me like the U.S. government fucked Bin Laden."
Yeah.
It's like the songs are wildly inappropriate and ridiculous and hilarious.
I cannot recommend that film enough. I think it's shocking that something like Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, which I thought was really funny, Pop Star Never Stop Never Stopping, again is really funny, didn't do very well, and one of the biggest comedies of the year was a film that I
The next film,
hated.
Sausage Party.
Fucking Sausage Party.
Sausage Party. Didn't really bother to see that?
Any film can make me not like Edward Norton. It is a bad film.
Seth Rogen.
Right.
I don't particularly find Seth Rogen that funny most of the time. It's not my sense of humour. So then I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, it's very Seth Rogen, and it's not really. That's not really my thing.
And I'm like, okay.
It's very funny to other people.
Pretty average review, but in retrospect, I think I probably would probably lose a star if I wrote it now.
I'm sorry, but I hated that film so much. It's actually the worst film that I've seen this year.
It is pretty bad.
It passed Batman vs Superman for me.
Dear
Lord. It made me not like Edward Norton, and I love Edward Norton.
Wow,
but I watched the film going, why is Edward Norton in this film? He's made a horrible decision, and I kind of don't like him from being in this film.
Yeah, I would just
This
skip
is the rage
Sausage Party.
that I had at this film.
Wow,
I'm not going to take up too much time. I'm just going to say I hated Sausage Party.
So
I'm
zero sausages out of 5.
Yeah.
I would happily watch a sausage for the whole period of that film to watch that film again. I would just stare at the
I'm just thinking innuendos, that's fine.
That's all the film's thinking as well.
Yeah.
Oh, then I might enjoy it.
The entire... and a weird religious allegory.
Actually, just the things they say about religion, I think that pissed me off more.
Very
than
broad
anything.
strokes, and it's not as clever. The film's not as clever as it thinks it is,
Yeah.
and the food orgy goes on way too long, way past the point of being funny.
It's just not funny.
So food orgies.
It's a romantic story basically between a sausage and a hot dog and a bun.
Yeah.
And you can see where that's going, and it has
The
a
hot dog bun being a woman, and obviously
and it has a
it has
food
a
orgy
lesbian taco.
and a lesbian taco.
I have seen the next film.
Zootopia.
Oh, Zootopia is a good film.
Yeah,
I've heard
Zootopia.
really good
Yeah.
things. People keep recommending it to me, and I still haven't leading watched
I
it.
really
I have
liked
I bought it
it.
for my nephew for Christmas. Technically, it's his Christmas present.
Have you watched it 8 times just to check that it's working all right?
Yeah, I've watched
Cool.
I really loved it. I really loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was really
I
good.
thought again, like the characters, the two central characters, the fact that one happens to be a female rabbit and the other one happens to be a male fox. It doesn't matter. It was so just so platonic. It was so beautiful, and they were so well drawn out, and just really loved it.
It's
Thought it was
quite
really
similar to Moana in the fact that it's got a female character and a male character together, but without them having to be romantically linked.
That's great.
And
Well, if we want to
think
talk about
that's
Moana
great.
quickly, because that's the newest in the revamp Disney princess
Yeah, based on like
sort of world.
yeah,
Now that
not based on, like,
they've realised they need
princess
to
legends.
evolve the Disney princess
With the
idea.
woman's
Away
life
from
not
stick
revolving
thin,
around
yeah.
it.
Yeah, so kind of like what Frozen was doing, and the fact that you don't need the man to kind of save you, kind of.
We've
thing.
had
You
Tangled,
don't
Frozen, and Moana now in
Yeah.
the three new of the
need- I kind of feel like
Disney
Brave was
princess.
quite similar to that, in the fact that
that was Pixar.
Yes, it was.
Was it just Pixar? Wasn't Disney Pixar?
Well, Disney and Pixar, yeah, but these ones are just
Oh,
it's
these ones are purely
Tangled,
Disney.
It just-
Frozen, and Moana are the Disney princess movies.
I have, so I kind of have mixed feelings with Disney because I love the stories, and my mother raised me on them. Beauty and the Beast, the soundtrack to that, just so good. But as somebody who went on to develop really severe eating disorders and going out in and out of hospital for them, I have to admit that a huge part of that was being raised on this idea that, well, being obsessed with a stick thin waist. Like, I wanted to look like Ariel, and I wanted to look like Belle, and all of the Disney princesses with that impossible figure. I loved Frozen, but they still went for the same kind of figure.
Image-wise, yeah.
I mean, there is progress, because they are very interesting characters, and actually, there was a great article about how about the link between how Frozen could be seen as a metaphor for eating disorders and the effect it has on a family. The kind of that Elsa is the one who struggles with something like anorexia and shuts
is kept
herself
locked away.
Exactly, and she can't open up about it, and she can't. She. I mean, my relationship with my own sister, who is completely my hero. I could see so many sort of correlations. That's not her at the door at the moment.
That thunderous knock there.
Yeah,
Storming in.
I absolutely love my sister, but we did my illnesses kind of hugely got in the way of our relationship developing as in teenage years. So I can't get enough of Frozen. Love it. Again, think the soundtrack's beautiful. Think the animation's great. Love the love stories. That it's not just the romantic love stories. It's also the sisterly love.
Yeah, I was going to say that was one of the articles that I read about. It was the person who wrote it was really impressed with the fact that the main story about it is the friendship between the two female characters. That's the kind of the big
sisterly love.
It's
like
the
it's
love,
big part.
exactly. It's literally like the crux of the story is the fact that
it drives the
love
entire.
between sisters is
Was that the
stronger,
new princesses don't need a man in Frozen,
Yeah.
and in Moana they also don't need a man, but also doesn't particularly want one. It's not even a subplot.
I liked that in Frozen they didn't need one, but they found them, and
Yeah.
that the relationship, the Anna and suddenly
Elsa.
the guy.
Oh right, okay.
What's his name? What's
The
Sven?
nice one or the
Sven.
bad one?
No,
Kristoff.
that's the Kristoff.
Kristoff.
Sven's the
It's
I was about to say
the
donkey,
reindeer.
the reindeer. Their relationship between Kristoff and Anna is so.
Because they named her Han Christian Andersen, isn't it? Which is
Oh,
why
is
they called
that
Han
why?
Kristoff.
Nice,
Anna
because
Sven.
after the Snow Queen, lovely, which
Well, that
it's
is
kind
neat.
of loosely based on. But I just liked the fact that because I remember the first time I watched it, I was totally convinced convinced that right, so obviously the man that she falls in love with at first sight is going to be the one that she's going to end up with.
Yes.
And because that's the way that these stories go, obviously.
Exactly.
And they have done for my entire lifetime. But then she gets to know Christoph, and they get to know each other's flaws. And I think the last time I watched it, which was probably about 2 weeks ago, for like the 10th time, I cried a little bit with the when the trolls sing that little song about like flaws, being flawed, and the way to fix a fixer-upper is with a little bit of love. And and actually that was one. I hate to bring it back to Trump, but I'm just going to quickly bring it back to Trump. One of my friends said to me, how am I meant to explain the election result to my 8-year-old daughter? And I said that I think Frozen has the best advice, which is that people make strange choices, bad choices, when they're mad or scared or stressed. And I thought that was the best way I could explain the American election. But I'm excited to see Moana because...
It is. It's very, very funny. It's very sweet. I love the songs by Lin-Manuel Miranda. So obviously quite of them. He was doing this while Hamilton was kind of opening.
Oh wow!
And some of the songs are quite. There's one song in particular which The Rock sings, or Dwayne The Rock Johnson sings, and
not The Rock like in Frozen. The Rock, the trolls,
The Rock. So it's just a really laugh out loud.
Yeah, I didn't think it was perfect. You guys liked it more than I did, but I thought it was good. I thought it was very good.
Zootopia.
I didn't. I like Zootopia, but then I like that genre, the detective sort of style. It's slightly more appealed to me than.
There was something in the middle of Zootopia that I kind of just lost interest a little bit, and then I kind of took a bit to get myself back in the story.
Yeah, Zootopia.
Zootopia
drags in the second act.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But yeah, so I think one of the next one on the list is interesting because I know quite a lot of people that didn't think that it was that funny because we're just Finding Dory. The fact that obviously Finding Nemo is hilarious and it's very quotable. One of my friends, Anya, went to see Finding Dory and was really disappointed with it because she was like, it's not that quotable, it's more about her as a character, and I just wanted to see it be funny again.
Right, yeah. Okay.
And I think Finding Dory is a bit more of a character.
But Finding Dory, have you seen Finding Dory, Juliette?
I've not, but I do love Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah,
it is about her, and it is about her. The central theme is her mental state. Essentially, it really is.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm quite nervous about seeing this because I heard it was about her trying to find her family. Is that? Yeah. So I've got some personal stuff around that I'm just a bit like. I think I might have a little breakdown in the middle of a cinema, which sometimes can be cathartic, but sometimes it might be best to wait until it's on DVD so that I can just make myself a hot water bottle and
with a
wrap a duvet around me. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a bit of a breakdown last night because in Moana there's the whole thing about her grandma, and then I was thinking about my grandma, and then I'm crying in the cinema, just going, "It's fine, I can cry in a Disney film. I'm a woman, it's fine."
It's that weird thing of makes you view Finding Nemo differently because you watch Finding Nemo and goes, oh, isn't it how funny how mentally disabled Dory is?
Yeah,
essentially, is what you're saying. But then you go into Finding Dory and you have all the flashbacks of when she's when she's a kid and she has the same condition. You're like, oh, this isn't funny at all. Her parents are like really stressed about it and trying to move the kind of create the world around her and arrange their tank so that it suits her needs. You're like, oh, I feel like really bad for laughing at her character now.
Well,
in the first film.
Do you think though that might be a good thing for kids to see?
Oh no, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, so seeing that people have these stories, it's not just something to laugh at, but actually something to understand and feel for the character.
It was a very smart decision to evolve her character that way, and then
exactly, because if it just turned, it's similar to Finding Nemo in terms of a character going on a journey kind of thing, but I think this one is a little bit more about the characterization of her, and I need that.
The thing is, it's in the first one she was just a side character. You can get away with like the extra characters of making them just flat out funny, and they've got all the quippy lines and all of that. But once you make them a main character, they have to have some kind of journey. They have to have some kind of depth to them. You have to go more into it. Otherwise, they cannot carry an entire film. You'd be bored halfway there. If it's just nothing but joke, which she is in Finding Nemo, then it would be bad. But Finding Nemo was okay because the main thing was the more kind of filled out storyline of that journey. So they had to do that with that. Otherwise, it would have been a terrible
It's kind of what we were saying about, or Chris was saying about Jack Sparrow. He can't really carry a film on his own because he doesn't go on a
There's
journey.
no way to flesh him out.
Yeah,
He just is a quirky character, and at the end he's the exact same quirky character that he was before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
He is a walking punchline.
I think not really gonna go through like this
No, let's not go through
this whole list, but there's one thing, the film that's on here that I just thought was marketed really badly, and I just kind of want to just shout out to it because we went. I don't know how many people have seen War Dogs, which is
yeah, that's one when I was making the list. I was like, is War Dogs a comedy? I guess it was.
It was marketed as being a comedy, or at least I feel like it was. But then when you saw the film, it wasn't that funny.
It was marketed as a kind of Wolf of Wall Street style comedy. Wolf of Wall Street is quite a funny film.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily call it a comedy.
It's one of those films that I just think that the trailers represented it in one way, and then you got to the film and you went, oh, the funniest part was in the trailer, cool. And it's more a bit of a character crime drama. It's more kind of horrifying, really, of like what one character does to the other, than it is a buddy comedy, which is kind of how I feel like they sold it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why I didn't enjoy it. Because I was like, I thought this film was going to be something different.
But then I mean, I didn't watch it, but from what you're saying, I would have watched the finished version more than I would the trailer, because the trailer really put me off. It actually genuinely angered me because they're taking a subject that is so close to what so many people are going through right now. And they advertised it as almost like The Hangover. Like, The Hangover is about when you've gone out on a stag party, and isn't it really funny? And they advertise that the same way. Isn't it really funny when these young people walk into a war zone and...
Oh, it's about these two young guys who are arms dealers.
Yeah.
And they undercut the true story
it's
Pentagon defense contract and in order to sell arms, but they have to, because they undercut it so much, they have to do a lot of very illegal dealings in order to make the shipments and everything else.
Exactly.
So it's them
like
traveling to Russia and like not stealing guns but getting these dodgy
Have you
weapons.
seen Lord of War? Actually,
it's probably a similar sort of idea.
I mean, that's got a few funny bits in it, but it's definitely not a comedy.
Yeah. So they have to buy guns from somewhere that the US isn't allowed to buy guns from, and then fake it so they bought it from somewhere else. And it's war crimes basically. Yeah. But these two young guys who are in way over the head and are quite stupid and are bound to get themselves killed sooner or later. But how their friendship and their business collapses.
I feel like they marketed it as a comedy because Jonah Hill's in it. And I feel like that's why they did it. They went, look, Jonah Hill, isn't he funny? Everybody's seen him in like Superbad. Everybody's seen him.
He's really evil in this
film. And he's not that funny in this film. He's bastard.
Evil. He's really good in it.
He's
really good in the part.
And I feel like if they had thought about the film a little bit more, marketed it a little bit better, I wouldn't have been so disappointed with it. But I really was.
And I might have actually watched it.
Yeah, exactly. So well done, War Dogs, for failing in your marketing. Bad thing to fail in.
On a better note, has anyone seen The Nice Guys?
We did see it.
Because I feel like that, like a lot of people haven't seen it because it wasn't like massively marketed or anything else like that, and it kind of passed it. And I watched it kind of by chance. I think someone just suggested we wanted to go to the cinema at that point. Oh, maybe we'll give this a go. It was one of the funniest things I've seen all year. I found it really funny.
I didn't think it was great. I mean,
Again,
it's
it's sense
Shane
of humour,
Black,
though,
and I
isn't it?
feel like Shane Black has done things like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and obviously like you bought Lethal Weapon. He didn't direct it, did he?
I don't know if I'm asking not relevant.
These questions. He did like Iron Man 3 as well, but I think it's one of those things where I went in again thinking it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be better than what it was.
But then I think your sense of humour is very different from my sense of humour. So the things that I found hilarious, you were probably like,
yeah, I think, yeah.
Well, how do your sense of humours differ then? Just in case, because I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
I feel like generally mine's probably a bit darker.
Probably not quite as dark as mine.
Maybe.
No, probably not.
Maybe. I think, I do kind of like to go towards us was the not. Yeah, I think lighter comedies is what I kind of go to more. I think the problem I had with The Nice Guys is that I felt like there was a structure problem for me in that film. But it wasn't not funny. It just wasn't as good as it could have potentially been.
I think I didn't go to the cinema that much at all. So most of the films that I've seen have been at home in various ways. But the one that I did see that's on the list, and I saw it in the cinema, just because it can be quite expensive to go to the cinema. But I saw Bridget Jones's Baby, and I went with a friend, and I was nervous because I've studied Bridget Jones as a film and Bridget Jones's Diary, and repeatedly as for film structure and the 3 acts and what's meant to happen at the midpoint goal reassertion and all that kind of jazz. And the second Bridget Jones film I didn't really go for at all, and so I was very nervous about the third because I was like, is this another situation where there's going to be another sequel? It's just going to be not as good. I actually loved it. I really loved it. I didn't expect to enjoy it half as much as I did. I kind of went in expecting to be disappointed, and I hadn't realised that Emma Thompson had a hand in writing some of it. And there are certain lines that I thought were more knowing of the film. Like it was just more knowing about the position of women in the film and in society again, and like even the being held up to get to the delivery ward at the hospital, being held up by a feminist protest that Mark Darcy had been defending in court, and then he's the one when everyone else is late to come and congratulate Bridget, and everyone's going, I don't know why we have to have such ridiculous things like feminist protests, and the mother's saying that, and then Darcy's like, well actually it's rather important. It's it's stuff, and this man saying feminism is actually rather important, and then the mother's saying, I don't know why we need any more rights. Haven't we got enough rights as we already have? It's like, that's beautiful. That's just very knowing of the characters and knowing I really enjoyed it, and it's not going to change the world, but I think it was very, very enjoyable, and the kind of thing that in times like these we need.
I saw that film entirely of my own free will.
And
which means
No, it means I was dragged to it back in. It was fine. It was. I had some really funny moments. I liked them at the what are they called? The prenatal classes or whatever they are. Where him and the two men are pretending to be a gay couple, and Bridget's their surrogate. There's some very funny moments there, just because I can't remember the characters' names, but the American guy's like really playing it up, and Colin Firth's really very English about it.
I liked that you had the kind of difference between the Englishness, the Britishness, the kind of and then the kind of American just all out kind of. And I like the fact that it wasn't just here's an evil guy and here's a good guy.
No, that was quite good.
It was Jack was one of the characters, and Mark. I think it was with the Bridget Jones films, I've always kind of gone, I'll watch them. I've watched all of them. I kind of forget about them when I don't, it's one of those films that you watch and then kind of go, don't need to own them kind of thing. But I've seen them quite a lot, and I think her as a character is really interesting, and I think that Renée Zellweger plays her really well. And I kind of like I love like British films, when you kind of see films and there's quite a lot of like British actors and stars in it, and I kind of like comedies like that. That
character did change. I think we forget. I often forget that character did change the landscape for female characters as well. That this was a character who was clumsy and awkward and says things without thinking and was really endearing, and it kind of set the tone for a lot of people like me. I mean, that's kind of it's okay for me to get on stage and just be like, do you know what, I have no filter and I'm just going to be me, and that's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's lovely that we've got characters like that who are also she's rather gorgeous and lovely, and I was a bit sad that she'd lost weight in this film.
So let's have a quick flick through the list. I'm going to mention Keanu just because I went to a screening of it for review, and I got a calendar. They gave out calendars, if you can see it hanging up.
You have to. You've been sponsored by them to.
Well, no. It's just if you look up there, it's a cat calendar. So it's part of the film's about this drug war essentially, but there's a little kitten. One of the drug lords has a kitten, and it escapes in the end, and one of the main characters finds it, and then these other drug lords break in and steal the kitten. So it's all about this kitten. But through the course of the film, the main character is making a cat calendar with his kitten who's become obsessed with. And then the cat's called Keanu, and it's voiced by Keanu Reeves in his when he has a drug trip. The cat's voiced by Keanu Reeves. But yeah, they gave out the cat calendar at the screening, so I've got it hanging up there. And it's got a different the cat reenacting a different movie scene, which is very funny. I missed Absolutely Fabulous, the movie. I didn't see that, although I remember liking the show well enough.
See, I never liked the show.
I think I really need to see it because I think it's important for the landscape of our comedy in Britain, but I haven't seen it yet.
No.
So.
Is that the film or the show?
The film, I've seen the show.
I feel like I'm the only person in Britain that actually didn't like the TV show. I just
Possibly.
did not find it
Well,
funny at all.
Also on the list, I've heard Central Intelligence is quite good.
Not
Is
so
that
It's
the one with
got The Rock and
I like the
Kevin
marketing
Hart,
on
which
that,
kind of I was like,
actually.
it's probably
Like
just
what
going to
you
be
need in
dopey
life
comedy.
is a small heart and a big Johnson.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
I
A
did
little
want to see
heart.
Swiss Army Man.
I really want to.
That was impossible to find.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
There's
where
the
the hell
same
do you
problem
see
again.
that
Like,
film?
where is this
And you-
is gone? But it
Is
looks
that the
amazing.
one
With
Daniel
dead Daniel Radcliffe. Yeah.
As a corpse, farting corpse. And I will get to see it. Mostly probably when it comes out DVD. Similar to that in terms of being a film that's impossible to find in cinema, but we did manage to find was Hunt for the Wilder People, which is just.
Yeah. Well, I saw that for a critic screening,
And you kept telling me how good it was, and I
and
couldn't
it was
find
brilliant.
it
It's one of my
anywhere.
top 10 probably
It's
easily.
Taika Waititi, who's brilliant because he's done a lot of comedy and things of like What We Do in the Shadows,
Yeah.
which is a brilliant film, and he's obviously directing the new Thor Ragnarok.
Disappointment on the list. Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar.
The Coen brothers
Really?
drop a clanger. Yeah,
Mhm.
wasn't a
The
good film.
trailer, the pattern that they used in the trailer were really funny.
I love the Coen
film,
brothers.
Not so much.
But
Yeah.
Disappointing. Very
failure.
disappointing for the Coen brothers.
Oh well. But are we all looking forward to Sing? Who's looking forward to Sing? That comes out
I
December
am.
21st.
Yes.
The
Animated.
X Factor animated movie with animals. I don't know how else to explain it. That's basically what
It's
it
got
is.
the most random cast in it as well.
Animals singing. It's just
Did we watch that trailer for that last week?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have,
In front of Fantastic Beasts.
Hmm.
Yeah. It looks great. I am on board
Oh.
for that film.
Well, we've talked a ton.
Yes.
I don't know if we've said anything worth saying, but we've talked a lot. Let's move on to our, as I said last week, our world famous
World famous.
segment. So last week we pitched to Matt superhero TV.
Yeah, we
And it
did.
was a mighty combination of Daredevil, The Flash, and Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
That was a tough call.
Yeah.
That
Not
was
by
a
there,
tough
Matt.
call.
I'm sure you'll catch up with all of them eventually, but you chose to start with Daredevil.
I did, yes. And Daredevil was on Netflix. I watched the first season, which is 13 episodes.
I attempted to watch it too, to rewatch it, and I think I got about 5 episodes in. I just didn't have the time.
Yeah.
Where
But-
is your commitment, Christian?
Ah,
Yeah, I managed to finish it off last night, the last 2 episodes, which is quite a good kind of
Yeah.
block to watch at once, I think. And yes, it is definitely very, very good. It's at the start, the first 5 episodes, I was there kind of thinking, yeah, this is good. But by the end, by the last half of it, I was going, yeah, this is really, really good. So for me, it started off a little bit, not exactly slow, but it didn't kick into gear until there's an episode called Condemnation or Condemned, something like that, which is about halfway through, which is the where it's one where it's got some really tense action in it, and you also start to really see the William Fisk, the main villain, who is the Kingpin, and at that point, because up until then you hadn't really seen him very much. You'd seen him a little bit, and he'd been kind of slightly socially awkward and a bit kind of a bit dull actually. He didn't really do a lot and a bit kind of monotone. But after that, you started to get into his character, what makes him tick, and also how he manipulates what's going on around him.
is that his flashback episode?
It's called
That's the one
Condemned. It's
bit-
episode 6.
Yeah, it's the one before his flashback episode.
Because I love that episode.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the point. The point before hit there is a good Matt Murdock episode, because it's the point where Matt Murdock kind of suddenly he gets to the point where he's been basically beating up various criminals dressed as the Dread Pirate Roberts from Princess Bride,
That's true.
and he then has a confrontation with the Russian mafia, which has been orchestrated by Fisk, and is then basically blamed for it, again orchestrated by Fisk. So it's kind of the point where he realises that running around beating criminals up in alleyways seems to be making things worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After that, you get an episode which is a very good Kingpin episode, which is his flashback and kind of explaining his character and how he develops. And then from then on, it just kind of
Yeah. The more
Gets-
Kingpin, the
Yeah,
more
gets
just the
better and
the
better,
show
yeah.
is, yeah.
and it's the whole series is a really good arc from beginning to end. It ties off the story really, really nicely, and it's not until really right at the very end that he starts being Daredevil, really.
Yeah.
But there's also another good episode that I liked, which was Nelson versus Murdoch, which is the confrontation between him and his friend, when it kind of it breaks that he's been this vigilante, I don't want to spoil it too much, but it really is.
I think it's been out for a while now.
Yeah,
People who are
yeah.
going to see it have probably.
probably
I haven't
seen it.
watched it.
Well, you're dead to us, Mel.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm so abused today.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna cry quietly in the corner. It's fine.
But there's really there's not too much action in it. There's plenty, but it doesn't go overboard. And there are some really nice kind of action scenes, fights in there. So like there's the corridor scene.
Right.
Yeah, that's a really good scene. It's one of those ones where you kind of look and go, are there any cuts in this? Was this done all in one, or there are a few kind of moments where it could be cut or possibly not? But yeah, that was a good. I think that's in the first or second episode.
Yeah, it's pretty early.
What other ones are there? Oh, and then there's another character which I hadn't seen before, who is he's called Stick, and he's a friend of Matt Murdock's from before. And then you kind of go, really, this kind of, who's actually a really, really cliched character, but you don't mind that he's cliched. All the things kind of work in the story and in the thing. So yeah, it is a very, very good series. I don't know if I prefer it or Gotham. I think I probably prefer Gotham.
Okay.
But that's because Daredevil is about Daredevil and Kingpin.
Yeah.
And the other kind of side characters are not as kind of detailed, fleshed out, at least until the last part of the second half of the series. They're still quite good, but they're not as developed as Daredevil is. But then again, the series is Daredevil. It's about him.
Yeah.
Whereas in Gotham, because it's not about a single character, it's about all of the characters.
It's the ensemble.
Yeah, you get all of these. You get lots and lots of different people, kind of, and how they're sometimes they're kind of advancing, sometimes they're falling back, sometimes they're kind of interacting with each other, and you get all this kind of mix. It is much more of a kind of a real city. Right. But yeah, Daredevil is definitely. I was definitely glad I watched that one.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we've said before, with Marvel's villain problem, it does not have Kingpin is a fantastic character. He's such a good.
He is, yeah, and again, like we were saying, he's not a supervillain.
Yeah,
he is just a criminal. But
he's kind of scary tough though. Like
yeah.
I wouldn't want to go up against him.
No, I mean, again, in the his backstory is that he was quite a fat child. Yeah, so he was bullied by his father. He said he was useless, and then can we give the big spoiler away?
No, I think if at least not for Mel's sake.
Oh yeah,
cry again.
Yeah.
Don't make me cry.
Okay, but then basically when he's grown up, he is he's probably about kind of 6'2", 6'3", and all muscle. It's kind of, and yeah, it's very, very.
He's just such a he's a very complicated.
Physically, and physically imposing on everybody around him, sort of thing as well. But yeah, it's a great series. Not quite as impressed with the side characters, but they do get better. Actually, they do kind of get more filled out. I liked the reporter character. He was quite good.
Oh yeah.
He was a good
Ben.
Yeah, Ben. That's it. Yeah. So basically, what I did notice was that for a show where there is an investigative reporter, a very very veteran investigative reporter, there's a kind of company whistleblower, and there's two lawyers. There's very little investigative journalism going on. There's not a lot of kind of mysteries that they have to investigate and uncover lots of things.
Yeah.
Everything they look for, they find pretty much right away. There's only one courtroom scene for a show with two lawyers in it. And so there's not a lot of law. There's not a lot of investigating, but it's not all kind of action either. There's plenty of characterization and talking in it, but. Which again, Gotham does better. It's better. Kind of.
Why don't you just
crime
marry
fiction.
Gotham?
Oh,
I already have.
Oh my god!
Hey.
Netflix does keep recommending it to me, so I will get into it eventually.
Yeah, I'd quite like to hear your thoughts on it actually.
I'll review it at some
Pitch
point
to Christian.
in the future. I don't
Pitch
know.
to Christian. Pitch to Christian.
That'll be it. That's like the only thing I haven't seen.
There we go.
Yeah, I've seen the entire internet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Great.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
So
Great.
definitely, I'd say that would be in easily 85% for Daredevil. It is very, very good, and the payoff at the end, where he becomes Daredevil, that's really well pitched, really well timed.
Spoiler.
Daredevil becomes Daredevil.
Ah,
what a
ruined.
I love that guy as well. The guy that makes the suit. I love that character.
Yeah, he's very good actually. Yeah, he's not in it much, but you kind of
but you sort of
I want to see what
sympathise.
Yeah, you sympathise with him. I want to find out what happens with the
yeah.
with his line as well. But the final confrontation between Daredevil and the Kingpin,
It was great. Yeah.
That's kind of really that's a big payoff.
Excellent work.
Yeah.
Thoroughly recommended.
Yay.
And we're going to get you to watch. You want to watch Flash? You already told me you want to watch Flash, and we'll get into Jessica Jones and
Yeah, I think I.
Yeah,
just start watching everything now.
I
Just,
almost
yeah,
started
watch
watching
all.
Jessica Jones last night.
Just start
actually.
it. Just do it.
Yeah. But I kind of looked at it and thought, it's 1:10 in the morning.
we were,
Probably should sleep.
We were chatting after you left last week, and I kind of maybe think of those three. Jessica Jones might be the best.
Ha! I don't know,
personally.
but like I didn't make it.
I kind of think it maybe it is. But yeah, watch it and let us know what you think
Yeah.
down the line.
Mm-hmm.